The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
We made it, guys. Welcome to show number 100 here on Up the Cherries and of cherry picking. Of course, I've got my main man next to me, Mr. Matthew Harrison. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, excellent. It's great to have reached this milestone. Obviously, we've got some guests with us as well tonight, who've all been involved in the show, throughout various different stages of it. And it's going to be nice to hear their thoughts on the show, and also to see what our viewers and our Facebook page viewers have voted for in the greatest all-time Premier League 11. So, yeah, going to be a good show.
Well, before we get going, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell button below. It helps this channel to grow. Do also check out our two sponsors as well. Firstly, Touchpoint Telecoms at touchpointtelecoms.co.uk. Do get in contact with Mark and the team there for all your business telecoms needs from Bournemouth all the way up to Birmingham and everywhere further north of that as well. I can't think of anywhere in the north of Birmingham that starts with a B, to be fair, at this point in time, but there we are, not prepared on that front. And also Dental on the Banks at dentalonthebanks.co.uk. So thank you to them for sponsoring us if you need your lashes sorted. But like I say, it's show number 100, and I think, wouldn't it be worthwhile me just mentioning where the show was thought up and how it all began, really?
Yeah. Give us the origins of the idea of the show cherry picking.
Okay, so of course Up the Cherries began as a YouTube channel back in 2021, and we was doing a lot of opposition preview shows and match reactions and things like that. This was when we was back in the Championship, and we wanted to evolve the channel quite a bit, and what we wanted to do was make it more of a fanzine, a YouTube channel that is just full of opposition preview shows and match reaction shows, maybe some special interviews. Doesn't have much juice to it. What we wanted to do was remember the history and the past and also the future of AFC Bournemouth and turn it into a bit of a fanzine. Everybody remembers going to Dean Court and getting the fanzines before each of the games. They were normally printed out on pieces of paper, by somebody in their home office. But what we wanted to do was do a virtual version of that. And I think we've been very successful in doing that. Mostly on a weekly basis. Of course, there has been the gaps for things like Christmas, but it's been very, very successful. And it started off firstly with myself and Chris Rawlins. Chris Rawlins suggested the idea at first. We ran with it. And then, of course, Mr. Matthew Harrison come on board, and he's been here ever since, haven't you, Matt? And I think it's probably a good time for you to discuss how it evolved from that first show where I think we discussed, wasn't it the worst 11 Bournemouth players that played for the club?
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? We did a show on Bournemouth's worst 11, which I think some people didn't quite understand why we were doing the worst 11, but it was an interesting show. We brought up some names that, you know, I remember watching from years and years ago. But yeah, over the period of time, the shows evolved. You know, we do a lot less about, you know, current matches and reactions now. Obviously, we've got our shows, Dean Court Social and Cherry Slaps, which takes care of that, which now completely freed up cherry picking to become exactly what you've just said, a magazine show. I mean, when you look back at some of the highlights, I mean, for myself, you know, you look at the Mark Pugh show we did where we covered the 2014-15 season, the season we first got promoted to the Premier League, with Neil Meldrum, which was a fantastic show. You know, it's nice to do a bit of nostalgia, and then if you look at it from the other hand, you know, a show that Malcolm and Ollie put together in terms of the Andoni Iraola series, the mini series of Cherry Pickings, where we looked at all stages of Andoni's career at Bournemouth and pre-Bournemouth as well. So yes, it's really evolved now into what, like you say, a real magazine show. And obviously, you know, a lot of people have joined us, you know, on the shows along the way as well. So I think it's probably time to bring one of them in now.
Yes. And this man, everybody will know. He was a massive part of this channel and is still a massive part of this channel. We are going to be doing a lot more with him. I know that everybody has missed him when he's been away, but that man is the one, the only Mani Thangadurai. How you doing, Mani?
Mr. Beazley, Mr. Harrison, wonderful to be back. And I want to say thank you both for inviting me for this special episode. I was never, ever going to miss it. And, you know, the reason why I was actually happy to be involved in this is because obviously, you know, I remember the days back in England when I used to go strawberry picking and I really enjoyed those. But cherry picking was something very different. And in all seriousness, I had the pleasure of knowing Craig Beazley from an Arsenal Bournemouth preview show that I was doing with a friend of mine, Stephen Featley, Lord rest his soul. He was, of course, a prominent YouTuber, but also a patient, really, who lost his life to liver disease, childhood liver disease, and had 6 operations and was struggling a great deal. And, you know, listening to Craig's dulcet tones, the way he conducted himself and how he, you know, just articulated everything, I actually enjoyed speaking to him a great deal. And since then, you know, he's been eager to have me do a bit more work with him. And it's been wonderful to, you know, connect with him and the channel in every way. And through him, obviously, I got to know Mr. Harrison and several other fine people, including 2 people who have also become very prominent. And I'm actually not a Bournemouth fan per se, but I really do enjoy going on different shows, talking about different clubs and different aspects of the beautiful game. It's always good to branch out and not stay in your own comfort zone, or rather an echo chamber, simply limiting yourself to talking about your own club, because when you do that, you limit your overall view of the game that we all love. And being more involved with this channel, I've started to really take a shining in a way to the Cherries, and I do keep a tab on their results, especially whenever Arsenal play Bournemouth. And being involved in cherry picking, the first few streams, I would say, gave me a great deal of joy, and I would always look forward to, you know, being able to do that. There were some occasions when I probably couldn't make it, but I've always tried my best to make sure that I would be on. And for me, it's a great deal of comfort. It's sort of a comfort blanket, because we get to sort of move away from the almost tribalistic nature of footballing rivalries and talk a lot more about some of the issues outside the game, which are connected with Bournemouth AFC, but also with the game in general. And I get to offer a different perspective. And I always had a bit of insecurity that since I was sort of an outsider looking in, I didn't know if my views would necessarily be welcomed. But the response has been anything but. And it's that response that has made me feel happy and privileged to keep coming back whenever I can. And as Craig has perfectly said, you will definitely be seeing a lot more of me, and that's the way I would like it. Couldn't have it any other way.
Mate, honestly, I've missed you. And it is great to have you back on. And yes, we will be doing a lot more. So keep your eyes peeled. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit it now because you will see lots more of me and Manny. But I tell you what, let's quickly jump over to the other side of the world, and let's hear from Darren in Australia of his thoughts on cherry picking.
And good morning, everybody. This is Daz from Cherry Down Under. Just want to wish everybody on the channel, up the Cherries in all departments, a fantastic day. And congratulations on the 100th show for Cherry Pickings today. Been an absolute honour to be part of the show, help out where I can, and you're a great team. Keep up the passion. We've all got cherries in our hearts. I mean, the badge proves it on the chest. So everybody, wish you all a great day today. Looking forward to the second half of the season, climbing back up to where we belong. Let's have an awesome second half of the season. Congratulations again, 100th show. Up the Cherries.
So, a good day. I don't sound very Australian,
Not
sorry.
really.
No, not really. To Darren in Oz. But I tell you what, let's head over to Germany, and a certain Mr. Malcolm Chiverton. And here he is now. How you doing, Malcolm?
Numbed. Hi guys. All
Hello,
good, thanks.
Evening,
Hi
sir.
Manny, Matt, Craig. Yeah,
How you doing,
life is
mate? All
good.
good. I sound like
Yeah,
I'm on
super.
Eurovision tonight. To be fair, I'm jumping from place to
Don't
place.
start singing.
I don't know. No, I don't think so. But
You know he's more of the Terry Wogan sort. He never sings. He only gets everything flowing.
yeah.
Lord rest his soul.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I'll tell you what. If Malcolm's Terry Wogan, does that mean I'm Graham Norton? Does it? Is it?
I was
Graham
actually calling you Terry, mate.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Because
I'll take Terry.
You're the
Wogan.
host.
There we are. I'll take Terry Wogan. I'm quite happy with that. But getting back on
shouldn't that be Terry Woebegone?
Oh, that's
low blow.
that is very
low
harsh.
blow. But Malcolm,
Right.
what do you remember of your debut on Cherry Picking in your favourite show to date?
Very good question. I had to ask Matt when it was, and apparently it was March last year when I first came on. Obviously we chatted through, I don't know whether it was WhatsApp or whatever. I was nervous but excited. Being a retired gentleman, obviously plenty of time on my hands, and the love for AFC Bournemouth since 1968. So yeah, what an opportunity, and just to see how it works, and thoroughly enjoying it. Loads and loads of topics. I mean, I don't know if you want me to actually say now my favorite parts of the show.
Go for it, Malcolm. Yeah. Go for it.
Well, really interesting. I found the shows with Johnny Blair, with the different nationals.
Yeah, I forgot about
that. Absolutely superbly put together. There must have been so much, research gone into those from both you guys. And it hasn't stopped yet. Obviously, they're still moving on. I don't know when Johnny's going to do the next one. But those are really standout moments for me, just watching the shows. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, variable topics. And when Matt asked, to come up with ideas, I was not exactly expecting the question. And I just throw suggestions at you guys. And when we talked about doing this mini series about Andoni, I thought, well, why not? And see how it works. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it keeps the old grey matter moving upstairs. So those my really, those really my sort of standouts. But yeah, super topics, and it's always evolving, isn't it? Football changes, and it throws up so many different topics. Crikey, there are too many to mention. Not necessarily game time, but the wider issues, as Mani said beforehand. So yeah, may it long continue.
Most
Well,
definitely.
just very quickly, you actually made your debut on the cherry picking episode called "Can Iraola Still Point Us to Europe?" And that was end of March of last year. That was the one you made your debut on.
Sorry, I'm an over 60 and I'd forgotten. So
I never forgot. I gotta be honest, I never forgot because I remember watching. It wasn't when it was live. I remember watching in the background, and I was sat at Heathrow Airports, waiting to get the plane to Abu Dhabi and then
that's right.
Singapore.
Yes. Now that you said that, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, I did sneak into the background as I sometimes do and had a little watch. But no, always a pleasure to have you with us, Malcolm. And of course, Johnny as well. Just give a big shout out. He probably is traveling. I don't know where he is at the moment, but he's probably traveling in some country that I've never ever heard of, that has probably got a name that I cannot pronounce. But Johnny, if you're watching it, always a pleasure, mate, and look forward to seeing you when you come back from a country that I don't know where it is. You'll have to tell us all about it.
And just to touch on what Malcolm said there, the research Johnny puts into those international shows. Now, I just put the show together. The research, 95% of the research we do in those shows are done by Johnny. So, he's fantastic at it, and he's got a real passion for it as well. And obviously, because he's always traveling, and he's here and there and everywhere. There's only certain times that we can do those shows. But another international cherry picking will be out fairly shortly. I shall be in touch with Johnny soon, and we shall set a date to record the next one.
And briefly, Matt, speaking of international episodes, do you remember the World Cup Cherries series?
Yes. And that will be back.
That actually, I do apologise. You said it will be back, of course, for this upcoming World Cup, but that actually was one of my favourite moments as well. I believe we got to interview Cherries legend, who now lives in Mexico, if memory serves me right. And talking about the tournament, I remember it was not too long after Argentina had lost to Saudi Arabia, and there was a lot of talk about how they'd go on in the tournament and whether or not that was the end of their campaign. I remember predicting that they would somehow go all the way, emulating what Spain did in 2010. And all I can say is I really wish I'd put some money on, a lottery or something like that.
I think you mean the legend that is Lawrence Martin.
Yes.
He is probably selling his wares, from his shop, all right, matey, as he says. Always a pleasure to have Lawrence on as well. And what a legend. And Manny, if you can make that prediction for England this time round, please do. Hopefully lightning strikes twice and you get it right again, and England go on to win the World Cup.
Mate, if we had a Messi type figure, I would, but I'm not too sure we do. The closest we have might possibly be maybe Morgan Rogers, former Cherry. You never know.
Yeah, we got Alex Scott. There we are. Thomas Tuchel. Take Alex Scott to the World Cup. But
agreed.
I tell you what, moving swiftly on, I'm going to introduce you to another guy, somebody I've known for many years, a really, really, really good friend. You've probably seen him on here recently, but he's been on a hell of a lot on Cherry AM, cherry picking. He's one of the team. He's a big part of the team. Mr. Ollie Hudson, how you doing, Ollie? Oh, we can't hear you, Ollie.
Hey!
There we go.
Hey.
There we are.
Very well, thank you, chaps. Yeah, how are you all?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Of course, I've known you for donkey's years now. I can't even remember when we first met.
A while.
Oh, geez.
Sure.
Well, it must have been. It's probably pushing on for 20 years now. But Ollie, do tell us what a show like Cherry Picking means to the fans. And go on, tell us your favourite show as well, mate.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll give you the rundown of why it's so important first. I think my favourite show is biased, so I'll leave that till second. Why isn't it important? I mean, look, let's be honest, podcasts and YouTube has been around for a while, right? And people get to go every weekend to watch their favourite footballers or to be with their favourite people or to drink at their favourite pub and watch the football, right? What we've got here and what we've developed and what I've thankfully been brought into, Cherry Picking in the channel, delivers way more than that. I mean, this is Cherry Picking specifically is blast from the past, and if there's one thing I've noticed from our community, our fan base, and a lot of the things that we live on, it's how we got to where we are now. And it's very much from the grounding and the foundations of Bournemouth. And I think a lot of people like to relive that. They like to live their best moments. They like to live their nostalgia. And I think episodes like Cherry Picking does that perfectly, from start to finish. And obviously thanks to Matt in the background painting that picture. But when we come on and we deliver Cherry Pickings, and 100 episodes, for goodness sake. So kudos to that. It takes people back. It takes people back and it makes people relive moments that they may have thought they would have forgotten with all the fame in the Premier League and how everything's going at the moment. It's super, super nice shout out to Johnny Blair. Those episodes are just bloody fantastic and a time that goes into it. And again, reliving moments and nostalgia for fans and a community that may never see these kind of videos, that may never go back and look at players in the 80s or 90s or noughts, and we provide that for them. And I think that's super, super nice as a fan base. I think it's definitely a specialty that not many other clubs have, for sure. In regards to episodes, well, if you've been watching recently, then you'll have seen the 3-parter that me, Matt, and Malcolm were all involved in. And it was just fantastic about the Andoni journey, how we've got to where we are now, halftime report for this season, last season. It's one of the most exciting things I think I've done as a fan. I know that you can watch games and you can be involved and you can, as I said, go to the pub and have brilliant nights with brilliant results. But when you relive how we've got to where we are, there isn't many things that compare to that, So those 3 episodes that fell into a 3-parter, they were bloody fantastic. They really were. And the amount of stuff that we covered as a group, the amount of info, and I think the amount of passion that we infilled into the videos, for me, it tops it for sure.
100%. And as this channel evolves, and it's great to have these memories on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple and Amazon Music forever and a day. If you want to watch and see how I've gone from and got the M27 running through, the front of my hair. Yeah, Matt's going, yeah, I remember, when you had a little bit more hair. Ollie remembers when I had a lot more hair. And, of course, the Dennis Taylor glasses, make an appearance. Hey, it's all there for you all to see. But then again, you're not there for that. You're there for the memories. And, it's just a great channel, a great thing to be involved in. And, honestly, Ollie, it's always a pleasure to have you on board. And, yeah, as we evolve and get bigger and bigger and bigger, it's going to get more and more and more exciting as well.
That's it. Pleasure to be here. Oh, and by the way, shouting out Cherry Picking, go and check out Cherry Slaps if you haven't.
Definitely. A show that Ollie and Malcolm started. So, yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And, of course, the memories in that, of course, who can forget, the most recent show, the 3-2 win against Liverpool last minute. But yes, it's great memories that will always be there. Well, I'll tell you what, let's head back over to Australia. We've been to Wales. Let's head back over to Australia and let's go and hear from Paul from Oz.
Hi, Matt. Paul from Australia here, saying hi to everybody, you and the lads at the channel. and wishing you all the best for today on your 100th cherry picking show. I've been privileged enough to be involved in 3 of them, and which I've enjoyed doing very much, and the great work that you do, well done. I just want to say a reminder about your new show with myself, which is on Saturday at 8 a.m. UK time, which is called On the Sidelines. It will involve a Premier League review of the day or weekend's matches, also a special music section, and all the latest AFC Bournemouth information at that time. Great work, mate. Keep it up. As I say, all the best from Australia. Bye, Maddie.
So there we are. Thank you to Paul from Australia for giving his thoughts. So I'll tell you what, I'll hand this bit over to you, Matt, and then you can run with this and tell us the topic.
Yep. So obviously we had to get a theme for this 100th show, and we came up with the idea about putting a poll out on our Facebook pages to our Facebook followers, and to ask them to vote for their greatest Cherries Premier League 11. Now, this is Premier League, so there won't be no Ted McDougall's or Steve Fletcher's. This is only for players that have played in the Premier League. So each position was voted for, and every player that had made an appearance for Bournemouth was a nominee. And the players with the highest percentages ended up in the first starting 11. And then we also do have some substitute appearances for those that come second as well. So let's start at the very start. Where else to start, I suppose, is with goalkeeper. And Mani, the winner of the goalkeeper position, who gets the number 1 spot, is Kepa. Now, Kepa had a fantastic season for Bournemouth on loan. He's now obviously with Arsenal, which is the side that you follow. But he's made the Cherries' greatest Premier League side. So what kind of attributes and qualities do you think that he's got, that the reasons why basically fans voted for him?
Well, it's amazing. It's rather ironic, really, because I do seem to remember that when he came over to Bournemouth, another of your goalkeepers actually came our way that season, Norberto Neto, who had since gone back to Brazil to play with Botafogo. And I do obviously remember Kepa as being signed by Chelsea as the most expensive goalkeeper at the time, but he didn't exactly endear himself to the Chelsea faithful, despite picking up a few winners' medals under Thomas Tuchel. And I remember seeing him last season at Bournemouth, where I thought he excelled. And obviously, in his case, he needed a new club to sort of help rebuild his reputation after having a stint at Real Madrid, where he also picked up a Champions League medal, but had a sort of a mixed time of it, so to speak. And I think joining a club like Bournemouth, where, you just want to try to compete, but also have the desire to aim higher, I thought he was a very big part of that rise of the Cherries. And if memory serves me right, that was, of course, Andoni Iraola's first full season with the club, I think. Or was it his second? I don't quite remember.
That was his second.
But his second. Thank you for correcting me. And he was determined to give a good account of himself. Obviously, a very good shot stopper, and certainly seemed to improve a great deal with his positional sense and also his anticipation. It's hard to recall a mistake he made with the Cherries. And whenever you take a look at his time at the bigger clubs, I think the pressure and the expectations sort of got to him. But based on that, obviously, he secured a move to Arsenal, and he will, in fact, be playing tonight against Kairat Almaty. And, it just goes to show how crucial he has been to Bournemouth, really fighting hard and going all the way up and really doing as well as they have done, that the fans have voted him in ahead of several other names who could have been great mentions. And yeah, certainly he's never going to be forgotten, and he's a more than decent deputy for David Raya, and maybe we'll see some more of him this coming season. But well done to Kepa. A good acquisition for Bournemouth, and someone who the streets and the cherry trees won't forget.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's Kepa in, who was voted as the best goalkeeper for our Cherries Premier League Select 11. Now let's move on to the defenders. And starting at right back is Adam Smith. Now, Craig, give us some thoughts
Yes.
on Adam Smith very quickly.
Well, he is the captain. He is a man that has been consistent. He's a man that has adapted. When maybe pace has kind of slowed down for him, he joined, of course, permanently. Firstly on loan from Spurs, I should say, before joining permanently. Before that rise up to the Premier League, he's been very, very present ever since that time. I don't know if anybody remembers his first game in Bournemouth colours, but it was actually against Carlisle United. He won a penalty. And does anybody remember Michael Symes? He put it in the back of the net.
Yeah.
So, yes, that left us third in the table at the time. But yes, he was a big, big player that season. And of course, ever since 2014, when he signed permanently, he's been a massive player. A man that has got Bournemouth at his very heart. Somebody who, has always been consistent, and a great right back. He's somebody that players like Alex Jimenez and, players before Jimenez as well have looked up to as the person, that they want to be most like. So Smudge, absolute legend.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So we'll look at the centre backs now then. And surprisingly, another player that's only played one season for us in the Premier League, but he won the votes. And that is Dean Housen. Ollie.
Dino. Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, if there's anyone that's done huge things for the club, not just turning the pace of how centre-backs need to react, respond, and fall in line with how a club really plays and the ethos of a club. Dino, boy, he embodied it. He embodied Bournemouth. He came as not a player everyone knew. I'd call him a project player, right? He wasn't a finished product. And I'd like to think that at Bournemouth, we were never meant to build defence around him. And it kind of just naturally happened because of him as a character. Composure on the ball, huge passing range, decent physical profile considering his age, modern centre-back traits, which again you don't really see in the Premier League at the moment. And it definitely wasn't a panic loan. We sold him for an incredible amount of money, and I can see why the fans love him. He was utterly fantastic in the appearances in the short space of time that he was with us. And then we made our money on him, and full kudos to that. Accredited to Dino. What a boy.
Definitely. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, that's a great summary there. So Dean Housen, he won the poll in the centre backs, and the other player to win the poll who would partner him in this dream Select 11, Premier League Select 11, say it again, is Nathan Ake. Now, Malcolm, over to you on this one.
Boy, oh boy, what a player. Obviously Dutch international. Now, if I remember rightly, he came in as a loan and went back to Chelsea.
That's
correct. I recall watching, oddly enough, a Chelsea match live. And Nathan Ake was sat on the bench and he looked just so disillusioned, so disappointed. And with, as Bournemouth fans, we know we knew what he could produce. So why isn't he getting a start? Why isn't he being brought on? Fortunately, we got him back. And wow, what a star man. I think he player of the season. One season for us. And I mean, he bailed us out numerous times. He waded in with some goals as well. Who can never forget the 4-3 winner against Liverpool? Wow. But he was just so reliable. Really, really solid defender, and really gutted that he left. But as is with, well, as we well know, we produce some really good players and develop them, and they shine. And obviously, the bigger clubs, they're looking at us and seeing what players are available and just put the money on the table. But absolutely brilliant to watch. He was, for me, the number one. It was so difficult to actually pick these out. You know, Dean Howson, for his age, way advanced. But Nathan Aké would always be my number one defender, central defender. So yeah, shame that he's not getting quite so many minutes. Although because of injuries at Man City, he's got them now. But always like to watch and see how they get on once they leave the club.
Yeah,
But thank
no,
goodness we saw him.
yeah, lovely summary there. Great player. Yeah, one of my favourites as well. Another favourite of mine. I don't think there was anybody else really that could win the left back position. And the left back in the poll, the highest votes went to Mr. Charlie Daniels. Now, everyone will remember that Manchester City goal, but obviously he came from League One with the club all the way to the Premier League. Take it away, Craig.
Mate, you took you took the wind out of my sails. That Man City goal was absolutely unbelievable. Let's be perfectly honest. It is etched in everybody's mind. Of course, another player that was on loan, this time from Leyton Orient, but he did start at Spurs as well. Come on loan initially before signing permanently. He joined us permanently in 2012 and was an instrumental part in the rise to the Premier League. So solid at that left back position, had the eye for the spectacular goal every now and again, was really knowledgeable footballer. A absolute gent, as everybody will know. We interviewed him on this very channel, and also he did the season preview show for us for this season as well. Charlie Daniels is somebody who is one of a kind, a player that who always gave 110% for this club. To be honest, he was such a big part of that rise from the championship that season. And do you know what? One of my favourite players of all time. To be honest, I could name that pretty much that whole squad, and some of those players, of course, are missing from this lineup. But yeah, every single one is important. But Charlie was he was pretty much ever present, really, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, pretty much while he was at the club. Yeah, until his injury. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that was lovely way to sum him up. And everyone mentions that Man City goal, but he was a quality left back as well for us. So let's move on to the central midfielders now, guys. So we've got two central midfielders, and the first one, Malcolm's going to take it away, as it is local man, Mr. Jefferson Lerma.
Yeah, well, what a player. The local man. I mean, a lot of fans don't understand all that nonsense, do they? But Colombian international. Let's just say he left his mark quite often. Therefore, he got many a yellow card. But he gave everything for the club, and he got stuck in, and it was no wonder that he collected, so many of his yellow cards from certain refs anyway. But he could also chip in with some really decent football. Obviously supporting the attack and everything. I think, if I'm right, he did get he chipped in with a couple of goals. Sad to see him actually leave, because I mean, his start wasn't brilliant, but he grew into it, and it was so sad to see him leave. I just thought he would be one of those players that would stick around for maybe, I don't know, I wouldn't say as long as Smithy has, but certainly put a few more years at the club. but a player well worth watching. You know, he would tackle everybody if he could on his day. Many a really good tackle, I must admit. Some were a little bit mistimed, but he was just Mr. Reliable. You know, and sometimes you need a player with a bit of fight in them to gee the rest of the team up. You know, when it's a little bit flat or whatever. But love the guy, really. You know, and still knocking it around for Palace. Unfortunately, they're in free fall at the moment, so I don't know how his career will carry on. But always, once again, another ex-Cherry, which is always great to keep an eye on and see what they're up to.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just as a quick reminder, these are all players that have been picked through the polls on our Facebook page to create an all-time Premier League Select 11 from Cherries players over the years who have made appearances in the top division. And we move on to our other centre midfielder now, Scottish international, former Celtic player, and that is only the one and only Ryan Christie. Mani, you've got some affection for this player. Take it away.
Well, I wouldn't exactly go so far to say it's affection, Matthew, but I certainly do enjoy watching him play whenever I can. And I know that the Scottish national team is actually quite fortunate to have him. Of course, his career prior to Bournemouth was mostly in Scotland. Of course, with Celtic, as you mentioned, and then a loan spell with Aberdeen, among others. But ever since joining Bournemouth, obviously, he's been a very big part in how you've solidified your position and how you've been able to recover from there. And I wouldn't say recover, but how you've been able to grow and evolve into a consistent Premiership team that, no longer is expected to be relegated. And that's a tribute to how well the team has been coached. But in addition, there have been a lot of players, obviously, who deserve credit for the stints they put in, and Christie is definitely one of them. What he lends to the team is very much the same qualities you would get when you watch Scotland play. Certainly very tenacious, has an eye for a spectacular goal as well. And, he's one player as well who quite simply epitomizes commitment, but also a great deal of style in the way. Sometimes when it comes to Premiership football, you have players who seem to prefer the style aspect to substance. But with Christie, you're not going to get anything but substance, and there is a style to that as well. And I think when you take a look at the impact as well, 145 league appearances, only 7 goals, but in the league. But obviously, he will have scored quite a few more in the cups. But when you're a central midfielder, you don't necessarily expect him to come up with that many goals. But he definitely keeps the play running, and he's also, in many ways, despite not featuring as often as he would like this season, still continue to be an important part of your team. And obviously, in the 3 seasons prior to that, he was Mr. Consistent, appearing, in a total of at least 100 games. And, he deserves to be mentioned in this list. I don't think you can have a Premiership 11 without him, although there have been others who have probably played for a bit longer than him, or maybe slightly longer. I think his impact obviously cannot be understated. So a very good mention there. A worthy pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a great summary there of, like you say, a top player for the Cherries, and someone who, is always putting 110% every game he's played for us. So, and was also player of the year last season as well. So yeah, great summary there, Manny. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the wingers. And the first winner, should I say, that won the poll, is Mark Pugh. Now, for me, lucky to get to talk about Mark Pugh very quickly. But yeah, a player who started his career at Burnley, had to go all the way back down to League Two with Hereford, where he was spotted during Eddie Howe's spell at the club. And once we were promoted to League One, we brought him in from Hereford. I believe there is a tribunal to determine the fee for him. But he developed under Eddie Howe, developed while he was at AFC Bournemouth, and went on to be one of the first names on the team sheet week in, week out. Excitable player. Used to love watching Pewey. If Pewey had the ball, you knew he was going to do something with it. And transitioned into a Premier League player for those sort of first 3 seasons in the Premier League. Transitioned into a top player, and not only that, he's also been on our show as well. We looked back at the 2014-15 season with Mark, and I also got to know him personally as well, and he is one of those footballers who is a really, really nice person. And I was lucky to train with Mark last year for about 6 months, I think it was. He was my personal trainer, which is now his profession. And yeah, a really, really lovely guy, a great player, someone that, you know, really deserved to make the big time. So yeah, always remember that goal he scored at West Ham in our second Premier League game, I think it was, when Wilson scored his hat-trick. He was immense that day, but there's so many memories that I could pick out from Mark. But you know, we've only got a short window to talk about each player. But yeah, Mark Pugh is our first winner. Let's look who the second one is, and Mani gets the pleasure of telling us about, well, his thoughts and opinions on why Anton Semenyo has made our select 11.
To be brutally honest, I think, you know, Craig would probably do a better job speaking about this, but he's already spoken a bit too much that I fear he might get a little emotional. And,
yes,
you know, when you take a look at the reception that he got when he scored that winner against Tottenham Hotspur, you could understand the affection that he had for the club, in addition to the club really loving him. And it was obviously going to be a big wrench for him to leave. But such is the impact that he's had on AFC Bournemouth, that he is one person that the fans, the trees and others will certainly never forget. And we can't. I mean, certainly not if you're a Premiership fan, because he is playing for Manchester City. Certainly a player who has all the skills, ability to die for, one of the best two-footed players in world football today, I would say. And someone who clearly, you know, loved playing at Bournemouth and everything. And I would say, it goes so far to say that he epitomized as well everything that it was about, and he brought into the culture very easily. And it's amazing how many of these players who were considered for this 11 are players who've been around the club since the days when you weren't in the Premiership. You were sort of in the lower divisions and had to fight your way up, and then go back down and fight your way up once again. And, you know, when you understand that culture of grift and hard work and sacrifice, that's something which, you know, he really identified. And you could see how much he enjoyed playing for you. And certainly his stats and his impact, they speak for themselves more than anything. And that you can understand why Manchester City were very eager to sign him. And just taking a look at his stats for Bournemouth, 101 league appearances, 30 goals. For someone who's classified as a winger or a wide midfielder, those are very, very impressive stats indeed. And he's someone who, you know, slots right into any top quality team like, you know, a hand into a glove. A big loss for Bournemouth, but someone who definitely will be remembered. And I can guarantee you that even if he were to score for Manchester City at the Vitality Stadium, he won't celebrate, and he will still be cheered. That's how loved he is. You were lucky to have him.
I want him back.
We all do, mate. We all do.
Yeah.
I want him back at Bournemouth.
Yeah, it would be great to have him back. But obviously, you know, you can see why clubs like City have been monitoring him for a long, long time, because, as Manny says, he is one of the best two-footed players, if not, well, yeah, probably in the top. I think he was in the top 3 in the stats for two-footed players across Europe. So he was always destined to, at some point, reach the top, wasn't he? But let's move on to the strikers now and see who won the votes. on the Facebook page for the striking position. And first up, and this is a man that Ollie is going to quickly describe to us, and that is a Mr. Callum Wilson. Ollie, over to you, buddy.
I mean, very close second behind Eddie Howe. Is there anyone at the forefront of a Bournemouth fan's heart and mind? If we look back into the past, I mean, the pinnacle turning point, the rise to the Premier League, the fantastic season that made him essentially a cult hero at Bournemouth. Some may say it never would have happened without Callum Wilson. Bournemouth probably don't reach the Premier League when they did without Callum Wilson. He was a huge part of the club, still one of Bournemouth's all-time top goal scorers, probably the club's most prolific Premier League striker, given some of the instances, our entrance into the Premier League all the way back, 10 years ago now, 11 years ago. Just fantastic. I think it was a real introduction into almost elite movement and relentless pressing, which is what we now see at Bournemouth. And I don't mean to full circle it back round, but when I say it out loud like that, I mean, who knows? Maybe there was a standard set from the Eddie Howe and Callum Wilson era. I don't know. Who knows? Thinking about it now and thinking back to those days, I mean, firstly, it definitely doesn't feel like 10 years ago. As soon as I said that out loud, that felt a bit strange. But yeah, just Callum Wilson has a very small segment of my heart, and I think always will. Same as Eddie Howe, because of where we came from and how involved he was, you know. And obviously, I was born in Coventry, and he came from Coventry City, you know. And he's followed Eddie Howe, and I don't know. I just think every part of that is just pure love from me, you know, from Coventry to Bournemouth, what he did at Bournemouth, and then to be taken on by Eddie. And Eddie also has that part of my heart. I don't know, man. Callum Wilson's a special guy for me, and maybe he doesn't ever come back to Bournemouth. But if he doesn't, my God, he had a hand in putting us where we are today.
Yeah, I would say that's a very, very fair point, Ollie. Callum Wilson. What a striker, what a finisher, and obviously is doing the business now for West Ham at the minute. But the last player in the Select 11 is a bit of a surprise. A player that only really made, I think, about 28 Premier League appearances for Bournemouth, only scoring 4 times in the Premier League, but did have a spell with the club in the early 2000s, and that is Jermaine Defoe. Now, this is a bit of a surprise for me, guys, personally, but I will talk about Jermaine. Extremely excited when he re-signed for the club. Obviously, for myself, watching him back at the old ground during the 2000-2001 season, or as now is affectionately known as the Jermaine Defoe season, where he played, I think it was 31 games for Bournemouth, scoring 19 times as a 17, 18-year-old. At the time, best striker I'd ever seen watching Bournemouth. Brilliant player. But when he come back to us in the Premier League, I was really excited because great play. Just finished playing for England at the time, but never really got as many appearances as he probably should have done for us in the Premier League. But a couple of goals that stick in my mind in the Premier League, 2 out of the 4 goals that he did score for us in the Premier League. The one at home against Brighton on the Friday night, which, if I remember rightly, was his first goal on his return. And then that lovely lob against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Two great goals that he scored there for us in the Premier League. But I think he's probably won this vote because of what he achieved in the Premier League as a whole. And if you're building your team, Jermaine Defoe would probably end up in the majority of choices. So Jermaine Defoe concludes the lineup. So let's have a look at how the side looks. So There we go. You got Kepa in goal. Adam Smith, Dean Howson, Nathan Ake, Charlie Daniels. They make the back 4. Then Semenyo, Christie, Lerma and Pugh are the centre midfielders and the wide players. And then, of course, you've got Jermaine Defoe and Callum Wilson. Guys, just quickly, before we have a look at the bench there, is there anybody there that is a surprise that has made that starting 11? Bearing in mind, this has all been voted by viewers and Facebook.
I'm going to be honest. I would make one big change. Oh, no, two big changes. The first one is quite an obvious one because I absolutely love this goalkeeper, and that is Artur Boruc, the big Pole in the goal who was so instrumental at this football club in getting us out of the Championship and into the Premier League. And then, you know, what he did in the Premier League. He was a man that was formidable. You know, of course, come over from Southampton, and yeah, he was somebody who, you know, honestly, one of the best goalkeepers that I think still to this day that we have had the pleasure of seeing. The other change might be a little bit more of a controversial one, because it would be taking out one of the best talents that I think we've ever had, and that is Dean Howson. I would take him out for my man, Steve Cook. Of course, he's at QPR now, but he was such a big player for us, a big rock, somebody who had very little luck under Paul Groves. Eddie Howe brought him back in to the side, and he just seemed to click with Eddie, seemed to really excel, and you know, a man who, you know, honestly, I absolutely love watching Steve Cook. And we talk about favourite Bournemouth players. You know, Semenyo's right up there. Steve Cook's right up there with him for me. I know this is going to sound a really weird thing as well. I think, you know, we've got to pick a manager. And to be honest, I think Eddie Howe would be the manager to lead this side. But, you know, every single one of those players, Harry Arter, another player who was absolutely brilliant, instrumental in getting us out of the Championship, and you know, his first couple of seasons in the Premier League were very, very good. And Matt Ritchie, you know, a player I really enjoyed watching. You know, a player who, you know, I was a bit gutted when he went to Newcastle, to be honest, but you know, I think he saw it as a bit of a sideward step to actually move forwards in the end. And, you know, it proved for him that, you know, it must have been the right decision. You know, every single one of those players on the bench are brilliant. Frano as well. How can we forget Frano? And of course, what Frano's doing nowadays. So, yeah, some really, really, really good picks. But for me, the two changes I would make is get the big Pole in the goal and get Steve Cook, you know, in defence. And hey, if the big Pole can't stop it, Steve Cook will make a great save.
Yeah.
I would agree, definitely. And it's interesting you speak about Boruc, Craig. You know, obviously he had a storied career before coming over to Bournemouth, and he also did join from, I think, Southampton, so that would have caused a little bit of controversy. But it's amazing how he endeared himself to Cherries fans that, you know, Boruc ended up becoming so popular. And even in that season where Ramsdale was preferred ahead of him, he still maintained a great level of professionalism, although there were some, and I was one among them, mind you, who were calling for him to be put back. And this is also going to be a bit controversial, but I would drop Jefferson Lerma and bring in Justin Kluivert. He might have the famous name, but he's carving out his own legacy. Bournemouth should have a special place in his heart for how they've helped him rejuvenate his career. And quite simply, just a beautiful player. Kluivert and Christie together, that has to be another reason why Bournemouth have been doing so well.
Yeah, most definitely.
Sorry, I'm giving actions in the background here because I just heard that after I was running back into the room. And yeah, you're so right. So right. If there was anyone else that stood out as one of those thoroughly rememberable players who has a decent time frame and a decent stint with us, I think it's Kluivert. I think it could have been Semenyo. It really could have been. I think the likes of Adams and Tav and Scott, I think they're the spine of Bournemouth. But I think if we're really giving it to someone, Cliver is different gravy. He really is. And he might carry the name, but he's just different. He is. I love him. Good shout out, Manny. Good shout out.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah. Malcolm, I mean, obviously this was a poll. This has been voted for by ourselves. We all had a vote on there. But I mean, is there anybody that you think you would possibly change?
I mean, looking at it here, if I was going to change anybody, I would actually put Matt Ritchie in for Jefferson Lerma.
Oh, right. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, he's more, obviously, Matt Ritchie's more attacking minded, wasn't he? I mean, obviously, he could power a ball in the net, couldn't he?
Oh, yes.
He is, obviously, his physicality, his energy, was up there with the best. Obviously, I couldn't see as many games when I used to watch him at Bournemouth. But what I did see of him, he impressed me. And obviously, speaking with guys back home, they said, if you get a chance, watch these and these and these. Pewey was another one. Charlie Daniels, he said, probably the best left back in the Premier League at that time. You couldn't knock it, could you? So
No.
I mean, it was a really good squad they had, that actually went up into the Premier League those 10 odd so years ago. Yeah, wow. And they've all got a mention here, and they deserve that mention because of what they've done.
Yeah.
And it is a collective, and obviously, it is freedom of choice. And if the people wanted to vote for maybe, let's just say Defoe as opposed to Solanke or King, great. It's freedom of choice, and so be it. It's not something to argue over. It was just, it's really nice to actually look back and see these names and you think, crikeys, how many years ago did they play for us? And as Ollie said, it sounds crazy. We're talking about a decade ago. So
yeah, I think you've just hit the nail on the head. Exactly what you said. You're summing up the 100th so, which is summing up the rest of the cherry pickings, and all it's done is brought on good feelings and good thoughts about previous players. It just sums it up perfectly, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't add any more.
No, I mean, just for me, quickly, I mean, I agree with Craig. I would swap Kepa and Boric. I mean, Boric was excellent. I loved Kepa last season, thought he was vitally important, but Boric, he has a bit of longevity for me. And for me, even though I love him, I would probably take Defoe out and put Cliver in. Other than that, like we say, this was all voted for by, obviously, our Facebook followers and viewers. This wasn't one that we've put together. This has all been done on the vote on the Facebook page. So yeah, it's nice to see what everybody's thought about it. Everyone's had their own favourites and people they think should be in and shouldn't be in. But the bench consists of Boric, Simon Francis, Steve Cook, Milos Kirkes, Harry Arter, Matt Ritchie, Joshua King, Justin Cliver, and Dom Solanke. So, I mean, if that team there was the match day squad to face any Premier League team today, I think they would definitely meet their match on that one.
I mean, definitely. Just another final shout out to the heroes that got us here.
Yes.
Another final shout out, because crikey, there's some that I missed, but what a position we're in. And we're looking at some names here that I think, I mean, some of these guys probably thought they'd never be remembered, with their stints at Bournemouth or the struggles in League One or League Two. And look, we're here reliving their moments, putting them in the best squad of the best starting 11 for Bournemouth. I just think it's brilliant. Really brilliant.
Maybe we should do this again on the 200th show and see if there's any different names that appear in the next one. But
just asking for a mate as well. I know that he didn't play in the Premier League, but of course he's still at the football club. He's been at the football club ever since. Can Fletch not have a place in this side?
Well, as I had many people put into comments, where's Ted McDougall, this, that, and the other? It's
Premier League
era select 11. So
Yeah.
there's
Craig, no exceptions, mate. I feel for you, but rules are rules. No exceptions.
The man's still a legend.
You got to be honest. Some of these videos that we see, the likes of Cliver and Semenyo and Scott and Tav running out back into the changing room celebrating, and guess who stood there celebrating with them?
Yes,
same person at the end of that tunnel every single time.
He will always be a legend.
He'll always
He's
He'll always be a legend.
and he'll always be involved in a club. And I think if anything, he's counting his lucky stars that he's still where he is now with a Premier League side like Bournemouth. He is so in it. He's so involved. I think that's so good for him. I never
rubbed off on these guys as well.
Yeah. I
didn't
see him being carried along with the squad this long. And it's fun. Again, it's another thing of Bournemouth, isn't it? It's just, you see his face on these little bits and everyone's celebrating to him. And you look at the home stand and you're like, all just full circle again. Beautiful.
That's Bournemouth, isn't it? It's a homely club.
Yeah, it really is, mate. Yeah.
And there's a togetherness within that club, not just the players on the pitch, but the togetherness all the way through. And that comes across even on TV when you see all those little snippets. Just amazing stuff. So happy to be a Cherries fan.
100%, mate. 100%. So yeah, I thought I'd mention Big Fletch there, but like you said, Matt, he is Premier League only. So sorry, Fletch. You can have an honorary mention. You're still mentioned in the video. We love you.
Can I just say one thing? Congratulations on the 100th edition.
Yeah, big shout out, chaps. Well done to you both, because the commitment, consistency, and tenacity involved in getting to 100 shows alone is fantastic. But I think this is your second 100th milestone, isn't it? So just brilliant. Well done, chaps.
And thank you to everybody. Everybody's contributed. Everybody's done stuff. And so as well as you guys thanking us, we need to thank you as well.
Yes, most definitely. This channel wouldn't be this channel without you guys, without Paul, Darren, Johnny, Lawrence, everybody in the comments. Of course, the guys that jump on, Liam, Jamie, all the opposition fans as well. Sean, everybody, has come together to make this channel. And at the end of the day, we say thank you to every single one of you.
Absolutely.
But yes, there we go. That is show number 100 down. Of course, one quick thing, of course, we are getting towards the end of the season. You did mention, of course, the Andoni shows. I think part 4 hopefully will be in the offing, and it will be another big celebration. What do you reckon?
Will it be done?
I'm sure there will be a part 4 when the two guys comply it and gather their stuff together, and we'll go from there.
I think watch this space, because in the background, me and Mal chat quite a lot, and there's a few things grumbling away. So
there we are.
Please do watch away.
And there's going to be a part 5, part 6, part 7, and part 8 as well.
Just watch this space. Hey, if we take it one game at a time, we'll take this one show at a time.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
on
like
that note, come on, the Wolves. Let's get another 3 points there, shall we?
Yes. Well, not come on Wolves. Come on Bournemouth, the Cherries.
Come on the Wolves. We're going away to Wolves.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's the Bournemouth channel, Craig.
Exactly. But honestly, it has been a real pleasure. Like I say, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell button below. Do share it with your friends. Share it with everybody. We will be doing loads and loads more shows. So please share them. But let's finish off now. Manny, it's always a pleasure to see your face, mate. And you will be forever a big part of this channel. We are going to do lots more as well, aren't we?
I am ready and waiting and chomping at not just the bit, but the cherry flesh. Have to be careful of the stones, you see.
Definitely. Ollie, as always, a pleasure. here's to another 20 years. I will have probably lost all my hair by the time, we get to another 20 years. Look at that. I will be bald. I will have to wear these glasses because I won't be able to put contact lenses in, and I will look very wrinkly. But hey, we'll still be doing it, won't we?
Yeah.
There we are.
Say yeah. There we go. I was waiting for the yeah.
Malcolm, always a pleasure diving in from Germany. It's great to always see you on here, mate. And yeah, here's to lots more shows. And hey, I'll keep watching you from London Heathrow before I fly away on my next travels as well.
Wherever that may take you, then safe travels, old chap. That's all I can say.
I don't know where I'm going at the moment. And of course,
and show 101 will be coming out very soon.
It will be.
Yes. So make sure you subscribe because otherwise you might bloody miss it. And of course, Mr. Matthew Harrison. This channel wouldn't be this channel without you, mate. So I appreciate everything you do.
Hats off, kudos, pat on the back, fucking the whole lot, Matt.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, I appreciate that. And it's a passion, isn't it? And when you're passionate about something, it's not a chore. It becomes very pleasurable. So and it's great. And when people give ideas and I can build something, and it's great. And like Malcolm's just touched on, the 101 edition of the show will be out very, very soon. So we're working on that as we speak.
Definitely.
In every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun and snap, the job's a game. Julie Andrews, Mary Poppins.
He's full of them. He's full of them. I just love it. I love it. And thank you to every single one of you watching. Please, please, please keep doing so. Share it with all your friends and family. And here's to episode 200, whenever that might be. We'll be a lot more wrinkly at that point. But yeah, we'll see you then. Up the cherries, and we'll see you in the next one.
Up the cherries.
Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.